Vanakkam Pesu viewers. Today we have a very special guest joining us in our show, Sadhvi Bhagawati ji. She is the Sadhvi of the Parmarth Niketan Ashram located in Rishikesh. Now we are sitting in the banks of Yamuna and nearby we have Triveni Sangamam. So on this Pavitra Bhumi, I am so privileged to interview her. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Also, she has written a book, Hollywood to Himalayas. Basically, Sadhviji is from America. So she is here for more than 28 years now. I would like to ask you, what made you to choose Bharat?
It's destiny and it's grace. If I had known in advance, living in America, that this world existed, I mean, obviously, I knew there was a country called India, but I didn't know anything about the culture. I didn't know about the Sanskriti. I didn't know about the Dharma. If I had known that such a rich, amazing culture with the answers to everything that ailed me, if I knew that that existed, I would have run to come. But I didn't know. I ended up coming only by grace. I was 25 years old, and I had come from Los Angeles, quite literally from Hollywood, which is why my memoir is called Hollywood to the Himalayas. I literally grew up in Hollywood, and I had everything that from the outside you would say you need to be happy. What we're told is if you want to be happy, you need a lot of money, you need a lot of privilege, you need popularity, you need a big house, you need big cars, you need good education. And I actually had all of those things. You would have said, if you saw me, you would have said, this girl has everything. I graduated from Stanford University. I was in the middle of doing my PhD. So from every angle, I had it all. But the truth is that those things don't actually bring us happiness. What we call that sukh, real happiness, shanti, peace, anand, bliss, these things do not come from privilege and prosperity and popularity and prestige. They don't come from those things. So even though I had those things, I wasn't on a very deep level happy. But I thought, like all my friends thought, this is what life is. You make more money, you buy more things, you achieve more. And that's all that you can do for happiness.
Okay.
I came to Bharat actually because, as I said, it was grace. But from my side, the reason I agreed to come was I was a very strict vegetarian.
Okay.
I was a vegan.
Okay.
And
now the veganism is becoming famous day by day.
Yes.
But back then vegan...
Yes, I became vegan at 15.
Okay.
So mid-1980s. Mid to late 80s, I was a vegan. And I loved to travel. I had spent a lot of time traveling across Europe, across the United States, in South America. And what I found was that getting pakka vegetarian food, pure vegetarian food, in places where you didn't speak the language,
okay,
in places where you weren't cooking for yourself, but you had to eat in restaurants, was very difficult. People put eggs in everything. You get vegetable soup, but the broth is chicken broth. And they don't even think. People would, say, oh, you're vegetarian. Okay, I'll take the meatballs out of your spaghetti and meatballs, bowl.
Yeah.
Say, my God, that's not vegetarian. So what I had learned was that wherever I was in the world, Indian restaurants, I could get pure vegetarian food. So when India was suggested as a place to come, I actually agreed because I knew at least I could eat really happily.
Okay.
Come to Delhi. This was 1996.
Okay. You came to Delhi. After that, you went back and came back?
No. First place we landed was in Delhi.
Okay.
So I was in Palo Alto in California, which is where Stanford is located.
Okay.
flew from there to Delhi, having agreed to come just because I knew, okay, it'll be a fun place to travel,
Okay.
and at least I can eat happily.
Okay.
I wanted a travel break. I loved traveling, and I had been just continually studying in my PhD program. Come to India, and we only had a big Lonely Planet guidebook, because at that time there was no Google.
Only guidebook.
Just a big, thick 500-page Lonely Planet book. There was no Google at that time. So we had this book, and I opened Lonely Planet guidebook in Delhi, and I say, Rishikesh.
Rishikesh.
Just like that. This is why I say grace. I had never heard the word Rishikesh.
Okay.
I didn't know what Rishikesh was, but we opened the guidebook, and just like you open it, Rishikesh. Randomly. And as it turned out, I'm a nature person. And so when I saw mountains and river, it sounded beautiful. I thought, wonderful, mountains, river, this is great. I didn't know that the river is Ganga and is holy. I just knew river. I didn't know the mountains are Himalayas and holy. I just knew mountains.
Okay.
So come to Rishikesh. We put our bags down in a hotel, and I said, I'm gonna go to the river and freshen up.
Okay.
In my mind, it was just a river. I was hot, I was tired.
Who was accompanying you then?
I was married at the time, and I was there with my husband.
Okay.
We had gotten married very, very early, right after graduating from undergrad at 22. Another story, it was part of the karmic and dharmic journey to get me to India, because he was the one who had wanted to come, and I had agreed just because of vegetarian food. Otherwise, on my own, I never would have come. So God sent him into my life to bring me to this beautiful place. So I walk down to the banks of Ganga, and I'm standing on the banks of Ganga, and I look out, and I have Ganga's divine darshan. And I knew, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I had the most incredible spiritual expansion, awakening, transformation experience. And I knew, this is my home. This is where I'm meant to be. And then when I looked at all of the people, it was so interesting to me, because, as I said, I come from Hollywood. I come from a very well-to-do background. But everyone I knew was struggling and suffering. Depression, anxiety, no matter what we had, it never was enough. And then here, I looked around me and I saw all these people who were living so far below Western standards of poverty. But they were happy.
They're happy.
They were happy. And it was the most amazing realization, because I thought, we have everything, but we're not actually happy. These people have what in our view would be nothing, because they don't have the money, they don't have the possessions, and yet they're happy. And I realized at that time, there is a secret here. There is a secret in Bharat. There is a secret in this Bharatiya Sanskriti. There is a secret in this Dharma, in this culture, that actually enables people to be deeply happy. You ask the sweeper on the streets of Rishikesh, "Aap kaise hain?" And he'll say, "Bas, Bhagwan ki kripa." Just God's grace. You ask the women walking through the Himalayas with firewood on their head that they're carrying back to cook the one meal a day. And you say, "Ma, kaise hain?" "Bas, Ganga ki kripa." And where I was from in Los Angeles, you say to somebody walking out of a Mercedes car, "How are you?" And they say, "Oh, this happened today, this happened, this is wrong, that is wrong." And I thought, what an amazing culture that gives people something so rich and so deep.
Happy with nothing. There you can see they are not even happy with everything.
But this is the key. It's not nothing, and it's not everything.
Okay.
There, what we have is what I consider packaging. Here, what we have is what you can consider content.
Okay.
Having everything on the outside is like having a beautifully wrapped box. But the moment you open it, you realize, kuch hai nahi andar, it's empty. In bought it. Now things have changed a lot, of course, but 30 years ago, the packaging in many ways was not quite what it was like abroad.
Okay.
The convenience, the luxury, the efficiency. Again, now in the last 15 years under our amazing Modi ji's leadership and guidance and his team, everything has changed. But at that time, efficiency wasn't quite as much, comfort, convenience, luxury, these things were not there quite as much. But the content was there. So these people I was seeing, okay, they didn't have fancy clothes, okay, they didn't have possessions on their shelf. But what they had was a deep connection to their self. To their self. And that connection to the self is so much more important than everything on your shelf. In the West, we're so focused on just filling up our shelves. Shelf is full, but my experience of self is empty. And here, we have this deep experience of ourself, of a self that's divine, that's one with the divine. We are connected to God. We are connected to everyone. Connected to the Creator, connected to the creation, connected to culture, connected to roots, to heritage. So it's not nothing and everything. It's just a difference between packaging versus content.
Okay. But how did you take the decision of taking up sannyas? Like, you would have seen Rishikesh, you would have seen Ganga, you would have seen the people, but the concept of sannyas, were you aware of the concept of sannyas before you came here?
No, I was not aware at all. I mean, of course, in the Christian tradition, there's monks, there's nuns, so I knew what a monastic life meant, but I had never heard the word sannyas. I didn't know this Bhagwa color in Kapara, what it means. For me, it happened very naturally. When I had that experience of transformation, of awakening, of connection, of grace on the banks of Ganga, it was very much like God came through, I always say, with one of those vacuum cleaners that has all of those little extensions, you know, that get into the little corners, and literally sucked out of me desire for anything that was not conducive to living a monastic life. Even at that moment, I wasn't thinking about a monastic life. I was still married, my husband was there. I just knew I need to live here on the banks of Ganga.
Okay.
But suddenly, all of my desire for everything, whether it was sex, whether it was bagels, whether it was a comfortable house, whether it was a vacation in a resort, all of that desire, it just disappeared. It was literally like God came through with this vacuum cleaner and said, okay, these things are not going to be part of your life anymore. And sucked out the desire for them. So for me, really by Guru's grace, by God's grace, by Ganga's grace, it was so automatic. And I knew I want to be here forever. I want to be in service, in surrender. But Puja Swamiji, my guru, Puja Swami Chidananda Saraswati Ji Maharaj, the head of Parmarth Niketan, he would not give me sannyas right away.
Okay.
I came in 1996 at 25. He made me wait 4 years. I took sannyas in 2000 at 29. He made me wait 4 years.
Made sure you were ready for...
Made sure I was really ready. Made sure my parents were ready.
Okay.
Also.
So what was your parents' first reaction?
He made me go back and get my parents' blessing and make sure that because I'm an only child. I don't have sisters or brothers. And you understand how all families are.
Yeah.
But I come from a you know, as I mentioned, a very traditional, well-to-do family, and obviously they had a very different vision of what their daughter's life was going to be. But for me, taking sannyas was the most natural progression. I didn't have those desires anymore. I knew that I did not want to get myself busy in family life. And as it turned out with my husband, I would not have divorced him. If it were just up to me, I would not have divorced him. But I knew that I was meant to be in Rishikesh on the banks of Ganga, that I was meant to live a life of surrender. Originally, I thought he will also want to. After all, he was the one who wanted to come to Bharat in the first place. But his life's dharma was different. He was not wanting to live this life. And so actually it was him who said, this marriage is over. But you know, he's remarried. He has 2 beautiful children. He has a very big business. So this is why I say it happened exactly the way that our destinies were meant to happen. We learned from each other what we needed in the 3 years that we were married. It was only 3 years. And then each of our lives was able to blossom in the way that it was meant to blossom. But for me, after we got divorced, I knew this was my life. My life was a life of service, a life of being a channel, being an instrument through which God's work could flow. And my prayer just became very simple. Oh God, empty me. This is my daily prayer. Oh God, empty me. Empty me of ego. Empty me of false illusion, desires, identities, all of that fills my mind. Empty me of all of that so that I can just be a pure, empty channel for your flow here on earth.
Bharat has welcomed you with warm hands, and you have become a daughter of Bharat now. How special is Bharat for you now? Also, how will you explain the Vichardhara of Bharat to fellow Bharatiyas as well as foreigners?
Beautiful question. So, to people from abroad, and one of the great blessings that I have, that I've realized is a very big part of my dharma, is to share this teachings. Coming from the West and coming from the background that I come from, I understand the modern world. I understand that Western world, even what you would consider the more modern world of metropolitan India. And because of that background, I've been given this beautiful blessing of an opportunity and an ability to share in a way that people relate to, in a way that people understand, in a way that is able to bridge that world and this world. So I explain not just Bharat as a nation, because as Puja Swamiji always says, Bharat is not just a piece of land, it is a land of peace. It's not just about latitude and longitude and area and demographics and topography. It's actually about the pulse. There is a pulse of Bharat, and that pulse is a Sanskriti. And that Sanskriti is one that we call Sanatan Sanskriti. And here's what's so important to realize. The word Sanatan, we translate as eternal.
Eternal.
And of course it is eternal in time. That which was true 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, is true today. But eternal is also eternal in space, not only in time. So that which was true in Kurukshetra, in Ayodhya, in Bharatvarsh, thousands and thousands of years ago, is true in Los Angeles, in New York, in London, in Sydney, in Tokyo today. We say sab ke liye, sada ke liye. Forever and for everyone. And these teachings are ones that it doesn't require you to worship in a certain way. You even look here in the Mahakumbh. It's a beautiful example of this Sanskriti, of this Sanatan Sanskriti, because everybody is bathing together,
Okay.
praying together, worshipping together, eating together, sleeping together.
So how is this experience as a whole?
And this is an embodiment, an epitome of our Sanatan Sanskriti. Because everyone is together, everyone is welcome, it embraces all, like the streams of Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati come together in the Prayag. Our Sanatan Sanskriti is open to all streams. You worship like this? Great. You worship like that? Great. You worship like this? Great. You don't worship? You don't do Murti Puja? No problem. It doesn't matter. As long as you are anchored in the very basic principles. Bharatiya Sanskriti, Sanatan Sanskriti, is anchored in ahimsa. We believe in non-violence. It's where we are vegetarians. It's where our culture is about protecting the environment. We pray to and for the natural world. We take food out of our plate to offer it to the animals, to the birds. Why? Because we believe not just non-violence as a rule or a tenet, but because we believe that everyone is our family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. The world is a family. But not only humans, all beings. When we pray, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, may all be happy. May all be healthy. Not only humans, all living beings. So number one, we believe in this ahimsa, this non-violence, as it is anchored in our belief in oneness, our belief in that union, that togetherness of all of creation. Number two, we believe that we are not separate from the divine. When we say aham brahmasmi or tattvam asi, I am Brahman, thou art that, or just even soham as we meditate, I am that. We believe that we are not separate, that there is nothing but God. You know, people have this great myth about Sanatan Dharma, that we are a polytheistic religion. Sanatan Dharma is not. Sanatan Dharma is not a polytheistic religion. We don't believe in many gods. But it's also not a traditional or typical monotheistic religion. Because we also don't believe that there is just one God with one set of characteristics in one situation, doing one thing, punishing or rewarding or creating or sustaining or destroying. We don't believe that. We believe there is nothing but God. That's what we believe. So it's not polytheistic, but it's also not traditionally monotheistic. We believe there is nothing but God. You want to worship God in the form of Krishna? Wonderful. In the form of Ram? Wonderful. In the form of the mother goddess? Wonderful. In the form of the tree in your backyard? Wonderful. In the form of your grandmother? Wonderful. In the sound of Om? Wonderful. Doesn't matter, because it is all the divine. We believe in a personal connection with the divine. As we believe that who we are is divine, and that our life journey is this reunion of Jiva Atma to Paramatma, which is ultimately what yoga is, that re-remembrance. We believe that you have a personal relationship with God. When we speak about an Isht Devta, personal relationship, that God is not just some unknowable, inconceivable force in the universe, but that actually God is one we can talk to. There's a beautiful line in the prayers that we sing in the morning at Parmarth Niketan that says, Tu akale nahi pyare. Ram tere saath mein. My dear, you're never alone. Ram is with you. God is with you. So we believe also in that personal connection to the divine. Lastly, I mean, there's so much else that we believe, but just lastly for now that I share most with people, because you asked, what do I share about this? We believe that spirituality is something that infuses all of our life. It's not my spiritual practice over here, my social life over here, my career over here, my family over here. No, our spiritual practice, our spirituality, our adhyatmikta weaves through every aspect of our life. Whatever you do, in your family, in your job, running your errands, grocery shopping, walking down the street, everything should be done with the remembrance of our spiritual beliefs. So we believe that, as I said, everything is the divine. So it means the person checking you out at the grocery store is an embodiment of the divine. Your employer, your employees, the people who clean your home or your office or the streets, they are the embodiments of the divine. So all of our life is an opportunity for spiritual practice. And Bhagwan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita makes this so clear. He gives us what I take as a mantra for life. He says, Mamnu smard yudhyacha. Mamnu smard yudhyacha. Remember me and fight the war. Simple, Siddha, you want a mantra for life? Mamnu smard yudhyacha. Remember me means stay connected. Stay connected. Be anchored in the divine all the time. But it also means remember yourself. Because you are not separate from God. So as you are moving through your world, don't forget who you are. Don't start to think, oh, I'm the CEO, I'm the president, I'm the big guy, I'm this, I'm that. Or, oh, I'm just a lowly washer person. Oh, I'm just a secretary. Oh, I'm just this. Don't identify with those roles. Remember me, the divine, and therefore remember you as one with the divine. Whatever role you're playing, it's just the role given to you in this scene of this act of the cosmic drama, the Leela. Play it well, play it sincerely. But remember the divine. Remember you are the divine. So remember me, Mamnu Smart, and Yudhyacha, fight the war. Do your duty. You are not meant to just sit in a cave meditating your whole life. This era of spirituality is an era in which no one gets to just play the part of the audience. There are no roles being handed out in this Leela of you get to just sit and watch.
Everyone is a player.
Everyone is a player. Everyone must stand up. Everyone must do their role. No one gets to sit this one out. So we believe our Dharma, our Sanskriti, reminds us. Stand up, do your duty, play your role to the fullest of your ability, not half-heartedly. But at the same time, remember that you are not the doer. You are not your grades, you're not your marks, you're not your bank account, you're not your popularity. You are the divine.
Okay. One last question to you.
Of course.
There are a lot of people, young people now, who are willing to take up spirituality like as a basic trait of their life. What will be your piece of advice for them? One. Number two, there are a lot of people, maybe majority of Indian people, who are so monotonous in their job, monotonous in their life. They don't know what they are doing, but they are just living their life just for the sake of living.
Yes.
So, what will be your piece of advice for them too?
Life is very precious. Don't waste it. Think fast forward to lying on your deathbed and ask yourself, what would be your regrets? What opportunities did you not embrace? What skills, what abilities, what resources were you given that you wasted? Because here's the thing, you're just gonna have to come back next life and do it all over again. Whatever lessons you don't learn, you're just gonna have to come back and do it all over. It's like if you don't learn how to do long division, they don't let you move from 5th grade to 6th grade. Not because you're a bad person, but just because you didn't learn the lessons. So you have to stay back and redo 5th grade all over again. In the same way, if you waste this life, if you don't learn the lessons, if you don't fulfill your karmic journey, you'll just have the exact same lessons, the exact same struggles, the exact same challenges next life. But coupled with, again, then the karmic fruit of having wasted this life. So don't do that. Life is precious. Every moment is precious. Think back to COVID. How much people would give for one more breath. How much people were prepared to pay for just an oxygen concentrator, just a bed in a good hospital. One more breath. Let that remembrance guide your life. If you wake up in the morning, it is a gift. If your eyes work, your ears work, your limbs work, your brain works, it is a gift. If there is food in your refrigerator, on your table, in a cupboard, or in a store nearby that you can purchase, it is a gift. If you have running water coming out of a tap that you get to just turn on, and that water is clean, it is a gift. We have been given such amazing gifts and blessings from the universe. Don't waste them. You are here with a unique dharma, a unique purpose. Find it, fulfill it. Not just so that you don't have to come back next life, but so that this life is full of joy, full of meaning. You are here to experience Sat Chit Anand. That is the truth of who you are. Existence, truth, consciousness, bliss. Why settle for anything less? Why sell yourself short? You are entitled to full awakening, full expansion, full joy. Why settle for anything less?
So that was a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you for this opportunity. Hope I can visit Rishikesh soon.
Yes, you must come. You must come to Rishikesh, to Parmarth Niketan. Everyone is welcome. Invite your whole community.
Okay.
Everyone should come and be with us there on the banks of Mother Ganga.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pranam.